Hi, my name is Charles Hugh. Welcome to my dynamic sketching course. So I have taught art for about 20 years for illustration departments, fine art departments, but recent 5 years, I'm actually teaching for entertainment and animation department. So in this course, you will learn how to sketch observationally, but I know all of you guys know how to sketch, but this course is also going to teach you how to analyze and break it down. The components allow you to draw things out of your head. It's not about just copy out of full reference or drawing copy from life. It's about learning how to, using 3 simple step gestures, shape and structure, analyze what's in front of you, design it and draw out of your imagination. Be creative with it, not to be trapped with what the reference is. We're gonna start off with some muscle memory exercises. Like any sports, you're gonna start from the foundation first, and then we're gonna be working with organic subjects, plants and natures, marine animals, skeletons and birds, and even entomologies, which is bugs, and also some tropical animals. And we're gonna also be working on mechanical stuff, cars, vehicles, wheels. And because this is entertainment-focused class, I'm going to talk about how do you bring out characters from those mechanical subjects. So it's not just drawing cars, right? That's not what this class is about. Our job is bring the essence of the character through any subject. We're going to talk about composition, sketch costumes. There's going to be a lot of shape ideas. So I'm going to also do a gouache demo. We're going to use different material, and that's always fun because certain material responds differently. Everything going to be very direct because usually in the entertainment fields, they don't want a lot of very rendering polished stuff. They want to basically get the story to tell, get the concept to present. If you just someone to enjoy sketching, love to draw, or someone you want to get into entertainment, or you want to be doing illustrations or animations, I think this course is right for you. All right, so we're going to move on to the next topic. Is going to be costume. It's going to be a short brief on the kind of how I approach costume drawing, because the subject itself, I teach a costume drawing subject, so we have to kind of condense everything down into just one lessons. So it's going to be, I'm going to show you, sketch costumes. It's going to be a lot of focusing, a lot of shape ideas, because that's why I enjoy drawing costume, because I can really play with the shapes. The one thing you also have to keep in mind, the costume is fabric, and what's giving those fabric alive and shape is the mannequin underneath, and the mannequin's us. So you should have some pretty good knowledge on figure drawing itself, to understand how to draw the mannequins of a figure in different positions. And so when you put those fabric over it, so it makes sense, and understand where all the joints are, because often those are where all the folds happening. And once you get that taken care of, that fun part comes in. Just all you do is just kind of expressing shape, negative, and positive space. It's kind of what we have been doing for all the previous lessons, right? So here are some examples of what I've done, for this lessons. I'll show you the way that I sketch. Hopefully, I can also present some personality into the sketches and some storytelling. And that's usually what I try to capture. It's not just drawing all the reference, and if I can find some excitement from it, and trying to make up some story content, that usually to make my process a little more enjoyable. So I'll show you guys how to do that. We're gonna probably briefly talk about some of the basic anatomy of the folds. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it because, like I say, it's just going to be, I want to focusing more on the sketch part of it. But there are certain folds you can't get by it, so I'll explain it. Everything going to be like just more like introductions. And then if you want to get deeper into the costume, drawings, you can go look up. There's other instructors here at New Master Academy. They also teach, costume drawings. So I believe I do have costume lesson in the new masters library, so you guys can go in there and check those out. All right, so here are some again gouache again, and I'll see how the I think at the end, if everything goes, the time goes well, I think I will do it. Also want to maybe do a quick gouache costume painting just to show you guys how my approach. Again, so much fun. Look, I love these. You see how all these are accidental. It was this clown holding just a big giant yellow ball with a rooster on top, and I think maybe I was putting too much paint and just to bleed out. And that's my favorite part. Is I love that. Yeah, I love that, and I always feel like it kind of goes up, kind of trail up to the gesture towards the clown. But again, that's just accidental. So this is a very thin wash. You can tell it has different different look to it, and a little more earthier tone. I play with some of the texture too, and then but anyway, let's get to it. Let me put these aside. All right, so before we get to our full reference, I want to talk a little bit again, just the concept, fundamental concept about not fabric. All right, so with our primary process, it's always going to be 1, 2, 3 steps. The gestures, right? The shapes and the structural. I know this is probably my 4th time, 5th time saying this, but this is the main ingredients. When we're dealing with now, since we're dealing with fabric, and then I'm gonna add 2 more. Well, I should leave some room. I'm just gonna bring it down here. I'm gonna add a support. And at the end, I'm also gonna add a gravity. Support we can also call point of tensions. And that's how fabric works, and not just fabric, actually a lot of organic trees too. Like again, the trunk we draw, all the lines on the trees. When I say this, what's support and the point of tensions? What's the difference between support and the point of tensions? All right, so if I have a piece of fabric, and just hanging down like this, and have a 2 pin on that fabric, and the pin the support, right? Now you can see how the folds will be radiated out from the support, and normally what you will see is in this case, to kind of diaper fold, you will have a fold goes cross between the support, goes like this. And if you observe carefully, those folds, it's going to get weaker when it goes away from the support. And so when it gets away from it, the lines, probably the fold is not going to connect, and the distance between the fold is going to get opened out. So the fold is going to get weaker when it goes away from the support. In this case, the negative space, it's going to open. Well, not negative, the distance between the fold is going to open, and then to the point, you just just lost all its strength like this, right? So these pins are the support. So what's the point of tension? For example, today, if I take one pin off and I pull it with my fingers, if I pull it out, so if what happened to fold, you're probably going to start seeing folds radiate out from from this support, and then what happened is what my finger is that's what's the point of attention, because I force it's more of a forceful support. I pull it out versus just kind of relaxed hang over, right? So that's that's a different. One is more natural and one is more force. Means you can think about if it's sitting down, right? Let's say you're sitting down like this. Here's the pants, and let's say here's the shoes. And then right here, right, you're gonna have, let's say if you're wearing let's say if you wear a skirt today, and then what happened with the skirt is gonna come over here and it's gonna fall, and then it's gonna at the end it's gonna help us to achieve perspective, because what it's gonna do, probably is gonna do this. Like it's probably gonna wrap behind, and then and then whatever, and it goes to the next shapes. Either, well, let's say probably is not skirt, probably somewhat very loose pants, and this part kind of connects to that. So that way, see, and you're probably gonna see some full hang coming down like this. So that's more of a support. But today, if you are turning your body, for example, if you are let's say here's the center line, come over, here's the crotch, and let's say if your arms are coming kind of resting over something, you're probably going to see some fold radiate from the armpit like this, and probably goes across. You're probably going to also the big one coming over here, right? And probably some pulling from this side. Let's say maybe this arm resting. Also here's elbow. Let's say also resting on whatever a pedestal, whatever. And then you're gonna have this probably also pulls like this. So now those becomes a force for support, because you turn your body, you create to create those folds, right? And then and often, like say, the folds happen at the joint. So today, if let's say if you're sitting like this, probably a couple places for sure you have folds right here, right where the thigh meets the hip, right here. So you can have a couple folds, which those are great because help indicate the volume of the thigh. So you're gonna see some folds coming right where the thigh meets the hip, and then you probably have fold go across over the thigh, like that. Sometimes can be strong enough, can go all the way over to to that knee. And here, like I was saying, where's the support, you got some folds just kind of dropped off from the corner. See, that's a corner right here, right? That could be that's a connection, right? The thigh meets the hip, the joint, right? And then and so here you're gonna have like a couple of fold coming down from that point, right? The earlier I mentioned about this at the end of the, like for example, end of a sleeve, end of pants, or the belt. Those are the best place to suggest volumes. Because so a lot of times, right in this area, I tend to wrap around a little bit more than what I see to reinforce the perspective a little bit. I really want to feel where whatever that wrapping feel, so you can get a sense of that volume. One thing to be also need to watch out though, these are cylinders, right? What we are looking at here, they are cylinders, and cylinders there's an axis to it. For example, if we look at this leg right here, we're looking at a tube. In this case, is somewhat facing this directions, right? So this is our, let's say this is our center line. So when so I want to show, I want to show where that center, what the center line is, or not necessarily center. I want to show the center line. I want to show where some of the front planes, front facing shin is, because if I box this out, it's going to be like this, right? So there's certain that plane, the front of the shin facing this directions. So when I loop around the, like saying the pants, I want to make sure I probably would do is I'll come down, and then I will suggest where that front plane is, and I'll really quickly turn to the side. So what I would not do is I probably wouldn't just have the pants come down, and then I just turn like that, right? That would almost feel like this is where the center of that cylinder. So you have to also, have keep that in mind. So, and then that happen with the folds. There's sometimes it's not going to be clean. It's going to have often the fold will have overlap. That's very important actually, and that's how we create depth, right? So sometimes what you will see is there will be here. This is where the center, where that center of that shin, and then you might have a fold goes behind it, like that. The way I think about is I think about a lamp shade, or like those a schoolgirl uniform, like skirt have all this pleat, right? Goes around it. So think about it. Right? And it's all these pleat that goes on that skirt, you're probably not going to do this, right? That looks, that's flat. That just straight flat. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure it's all scale difference, right? So we have the largest, gradually go smaller and turn to the side. And by not just reduce their sizes, also I'm reducing the, not just reducing the size, I'm always changing the planes too. And also I'm also giving the overlap. Like that. See, now definitely you can feel that volumes. This is really useful. So what we're learning here, we just learned some of the basic concept about how some of the folds works, and then we just kind of interpret, because it's just too much. If you're actually drawing on the actual costume, too much going on. We just simplify it. So what I was gonna say, Here, also here's the support, and then you probably also get some bunch, pinched up fold behind that knee, and then probably can look somewhere like that. Fold will do all these stuff for you. It will help to show gesture like this, right? There's sense of gesture to it, right? Shapes is everything's all about shapes. Period. Everything is all about shape. And we'll be looking at internal shapes. We also most likely we're going to be focusing more external, the silhouettes, and structural. Structural means form, and like here, what I just showed you, these folds are going to help you suggest that structural. So let's say if we have again pedestal or something. Let me use a different color. Let me use a marker. So if you have a pedestal, looks like this. Put a piece of fabric over it, what happens? It's going to do something like this, right? You're going to help to show off these corners. If you have the pins, if you have very loose fabric, you might also get some folds between them. You might also get, a couple of folds out of these folds at the corners. But either way, you will see these corners. What happens if I put it on a ball? Throw a piece of fabric over it. So what happens? It's going to do this. It's going to come over, come behind, lay on the ground, we come over here, and then the we're going to do that. Put on a cylinder. Right, so it takes basically, you suggest form. Most likely, we're gonna have a lot of cylinders underneath, so you're probably gonna, have a lot of sense of there's fold that wrap over cylinders.
I think the depth and structuring of the courses on New Masters Academy really stands out, just the variety of topics that were being taught at New Masters. And they're all taught by industry professionals and very experienced teachers. I think it's really important for building like a solid understanding, and that allows you to really fully express yourself.
One of the things about fold, it does three things. One is they all gonna radiate from the point, all right? They'll go radiate from the point, and then they will cross over the volumes, right? Or they will fall into gravity, but they all gonna have, like I said, a sense of where they begin and where they end. So if you know where the origin, where's the support of the fold, and if you know what the volume was underneath it, you can pretty much kind of make this up. So let's say we got an arm here. We got at the end of the arm, this is deltoid right here. So what happened is that what the folds probably would do is, first of all, they're all going to have a sense. It has a sense of gesture, right? So you could, what happened? What you could do is you would, here's all volume. It's going this way. So here's the ball coming this way. So the fold probably would do is the fold is gonna come over here, go up and cross around the arm. So what you might see is you're gonna see this. And then to where the cuff is, and it goes around like this. Right, it's always going to come out from the point, right? But sometimes they can clash. For example, if I roll out the sleeve, same concept. So if I roll out the sleeve, and so this sleeve for my shoulders is basically coming down this way. So what happened? Again, just think about it. Same concept. If these are coming in this way, these are pushing over here, what will happen? Just like water, it clashes, right? So coming here, and right about here, it start clashed. Like that. So again, so keep in mind, it's always going to come from a point. Doesn't matter what you do. You can later we can look at a picture. Like say if we're working on a pens. So here's the shoes, and you're probably going to see a couple folds coming down from, let's just say from where the outside of the hip. You can come down, maybe a couple folds coming down here. When it gets to the knee, things can get compressed, can have some compressions. So let's say here's a ball right here. So it can cross over, and here suggests the ball shape of the knee, and then now that becomes not a point, or here can be another point, and then you can see the fold might come down from here. Sometimes the fold can be strong enough and it will push out the contour, and you see it bulges out. Sometimes it might just kind of fades, the emission fades within the volumes. But long as if I keep draw these folds consistently from this support, and making all those folds slightly different to each other, and also make sure suggest a volume underneath it. That's how I interpret, and then it won't, like I say, what feels right.